We are going to start off with the energy flow in an ecosystem. The first thing we want to talk about is what do organisms need energy for? And so we're going to come up here in the top right-hand corner and just think for a moment, what is the whole point of us eating? Why do we need energy in order to survive? What are things that we need energy for? So we're going to write a couple things down. If you guys walked to class, we definitely need energy in order for walking. All of you got dressed this morning. All of you guys brushed your teeth. So for doing our daily tasks, that might include getting dressed and things like that. We also need energy in order to mate, build homes, build nests if we were animals, and different things like that. So those are a couple ideas that you could write down in this top box. You can feel free to stop this video at any time if you need to hear something again, or you just need to stop and write things down. The first box is niche. This is the job or the role in an environment. So for example, the role or the job of a polar bear might be to eat seals, dig out holes within the ice that later on foxes might use to hibernate in and sleep in, and different things like that. Next, we're going to start looking at those different energy roles. We've got 3 of them. We've got producers, consumers, and decomposers. Another word for producers is autotroph. Remember, auto means self, and troph means nutrients. So going back to those affixes that we've been doing, autotrophs are able to make nutrients for themselves. Heterotrophs, again, hetero means different, and troph means nutrients. So they have to find something else to help provide energy for them. Producers, as you guys all know, they make their own food through photosynthesis. And so producers, things like grasses and trees and algae, all of those would be considered producers. Consumers, these guys are going to have to eat something else in order to get their energy. So I'm just going to keep it short and say they've got to eat stuff in order to survive. And then finally we have decomposers. Decomposers are also a type of heterotroph, so they have to get their energy from some other source. But decomposers specifically like dead things. So bacteria and fungus would be good examples of decomposers. And they help break down dead organisms. Well, we've got different types of consumers, and it depends on the kinds of things that they eat. We've got 3. We've got herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. Remember that herb? Remember that meant plant? So herbivores are plant eaters. Things like cattle, deer, caterpillars, certain types of birds would all be herbivores. And sometimes you might also see them referenced as primary consumers or first level consumers. carnivores, again, going back to those prefixes, carne means meat. So these are meat eaters. They have those sharp teeth so that they can tear flesh away. These are meat eaters, like bears and wolves. And we often, since these are the second things to consume, we often call these secondary consumers. Now there are some special types of carnivores that eat only dead things. These would be things like vultures, certain types of caterpillars, pill bugs, catfish. They're all scavengers, and so they are going to eat dead organisms. And the last one is an omnivore. Remember, omni means all. So omnivores eat all sorts of things. They not only eat meat, but they also eat plants. And so we as humans, we have the capability to be omnivores. So do bears, raccoons, goats and crows, some types of birds. They eat plants and animals. You can also check down here in this graphic. It shows a food chain. We've got these producers of these rooted plants and the phytoplankton in the water. We've got these primary consumers and these secondary consumers and that tertiary consumer. And you can see that energy gets passed along, and that source of all energy comes from that sun. So everything here on the surface of the earth gets its energy from the sun, and it gets passed along in this food web. Not all of the energy from the sun gets passed on from one level to the next. If we look over here, we've got the question, what percentage of energy is passed on from one trophic level to the next? And you should have talked about in previous years this 10% rule. Only 10% of that energy gets passed on. The rest is used for things like walking and reproducing and building nests and hunting and all that other stuff. And now we're going to move over to the other side.